What if losing absolutely everything isn't the end? Consider for just a second that it might actually be the violent, painful, but ultimately necessary beginning of something completely new. I know. When you're right in the thick of it, staring at an empty wallet, a totally shattered relationship, or just feeling this complete loss of purpose, that concept feels completely impossible. The emptiness is overwhelming, and hitting absolute rock bottom feels, well, it's devastatingly real. But what if that incredibly painful void is exactly where the real work of rebuilding has to start? Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to explore a really structured, step-by-step path to spiritual recovery based on our source material. We're diving into exactly how to genuinely find your footing again, rising from the absolute bottom and rebuilding from the ashes with radical empathy and real intention. It's an exploration of how we navigate profound loss and the specific frameworks that can actually guide us through that incredibly heavy despair when your connection to something larger feels, well, completely severed. Okay, let's just dive right into this roadmap. Our 5 phases are surveying the ruins, reconnecting with your body, tiny acts of meaning, evolving beliefs and connections, and finally, finding gratitude in the ashes. All right, starting with step 1, surveying the ruins. Before we can build anything new, we really have to acknowledge exactly where we are. We have to sit directly in the ashes. As the material puts it, we take the jagged shards of a fractured spiritual life and confront the silence of a broken altar. When you lose everything, there's just this gaping hole where your old life and your old beliefs used to be. And the silence from whatever you used to believe in, it can be absolutely deafening. Listen, it is perfectly okay to feel lost or angry, or to honestly just feel absolutely nothing. It's a raw, incredibly uncomfortable space, but our source emphasizes that this void is actually the fertile ground required for new growth. Now, when you're sitting in that raw space, you have a distinct choice in how to respond. Trying to ignore the void or just filling it with endless distractions? That's an unhealthy response. It's literally like trying to patch a sinking ship with duct tape. It's just not going to hold. Instead, the framework points us to a healthy response, which is radical self-compassion. Because when you've lost everything, your inner critic goes into absolute overdrive, right? You have to replace that self-blame with the exact same gentle grace you'd offer your best friend. And get this, psychologically speaking, radical self-compassion actually activates the mammalian caregiving system in our brains. It completely changes our physical chemistry to help us soothe and heal. How cool is that? Moving on to step 2, reconnecting with your body. This is arguably the absolutely most crucial phase of recovery. And surprisingly, the research notes it's the one thing people almost always miss when dealing with trauma or profound loss. When our spiritual lives shatter, our instinct is to look for answers out there, in books, from experts, or through these big abstract concepts. But actually, scratch that. Your spiritual connection is fundamentally rooted in your physical being. When you go through a massive shock, your body just shuts down. Trying to force some deep spiritual connection while your shocked physical body is literally screaming for basic attention is like trying to have a nuanced, deep conversation in the middle of a Category 5 hurricane. It just doesn't work. So, how do we fix that disconnect? Well, we start with the absolute basics to ground ourselves. Movement, literally just a simple 10-minute walk. Nourishment, giving your body healing foods that actually make it feel good. Rest, making sleep a totally non-negotiable priority, even when it's really hard. And breath, just taking one single minute to focus completely on your inhale and your exhale. Look, these might not sound like traditional spiritual practices, but by meeting these basic physical needs, you're pouring the essential concrete bedrock required for any true spiritual reconnection. All right, step 3, tiny acts of meaning. Once that physical foundation is stabilized, we arrive at this incredibly practical insight. When your whole world has collapsed and everything feels utterly meaningless, grand gestures are just completely impossible. And you know what? That is perfectly fine. We're aiming for micro moments of purpose instead. A tiny act of meaning is organizing just one small corner of your life, making your bed in the morning, sending a quick grateful text to a friend, watering a single houseplant. We aren't trying to fix the entire world overnight. We're just creating tiny, isolated pockets of order, intention, and positivity in our immediate surroundings. And don't underestimate this, because every single one of these microactions matters deeply. Each tiny act is like a whisper against the deafening roar of despair. When you do something as simple as making your bed, you are proving to yourself that you still have the capacity to create, to contribute, and to generate just a little bit of light. Over time, those tiny whispered actions, they compound. They build an undeniable voice of resilience. That brings us to step 4, evolving beliefs and connections. With our bodies tended to and our daily micro habits establishing a rhythm, we can actually begin to shift our focus slightly outward. Deep loss has this remarkable way of shattering the frameworks we previously used to understand the world. The material highlights a really important realization here. It is perfectly okay if old doctrines or dogmas no longer fit you. You do not have to force yourself back into them. Asking new questions about what feels true to your heart right now isn't a failure of faith. It's a beautiful, completely necessary evolution. And honestly, the resulting beliefs might actually end up being way richer and more authentic than the old ones ever were. As those beliefs evolve, who we share them with becomes absolutely vital. When you're recovering from loss, the urge to retreat into total isolation is incredibly strong. I mean, we've all been there, right? But isolation is a spiritual killer. Rebuilding requires connection, but it requires wise connection. We have to contrast the absolute danger of hiding away against the necessity of finding the right people. People who will genuinely listen to you without judgment, and crucially, so crucially, people who won't try to fix your pain with hollow words or empty platitudes. Sometimes you just need someone to hold space. So let's just take a step back and look at how far this roadmap has already taken us out of the void. You started in the ashes, and you acknowledged the space. You applied radical self-care. You grounded your physical body. You started taking tiny acts of meaning, and you opened yourself up to wise connection. This really demonstrates that the overwhelming, seemingly impossible task of healing is actually highly structured and entirely manageable when you just break it down piece by piece. And finally, step 5, gratitude in the ashes. I'll freely admit, when you feel like you have absolutely nothing left, this sounds like the hardest, most counterintuitive step of the whole shebang. Yet, the source material identifies it as the ultimate tool for returning to life. Now listen carefully. This is absolutely not about toxic positivity. It's not about pretending everything is great when it's clearly not. Gratitude is an active, powerful spiritual muscle. What it does is physically and mentally shift your focus from the massive hole of what's missing back to the foundation of what still remains. It actively retrains your brain to counter the heavy pull of despair. To do this, you gotta start with the absolute smallest slivers of light. The simple fact that you woke up today, feeling the warmth of the sun on your skin for just a second, a fleeting moment of quiet in a super noisy day, a fond memory of someone you love, a single skill or talent you still possess. By consciously acknowledging these tiny things, you slowly pry yourself back open to receiving the blessings of the world around you. The ultimate takeaway here is that even from the ashes, something new can grow. It's a powerful reminder that a shattered foundation can be rebuilt, piece by jagged piece. The fire will return, but the process takes patience, profound self-compassion, and time. No one is entirely alone in the wreckage, and the capacity to rebuild is literally hardwired into us. So, as we wrap up this explainer, there's one specific, highly manageable question I want to leave you with for the week ahead. Thinking about your life right now in this very moment, what is your tiny act of meaning? Seriously, don't look at the whole staircase. Just pick one whisper against the roar. Decide what that micro task is going to be, hold on to it, and let it be the first block in your new foundation. Will you take that first step today?